Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel, Stitchy Rach, here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It's Tuesday the 31st of January and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. Hi everyone, how are you? It's the end of January, which seems to have whizzed by. I hope you're all well and your stitching is going great guns. I've had a few new subscribers since last time, so very big welcome if you're new here. Do let me know where you came from. I do wonder sometimes if people have given me a shout out or something like that, so if you're new, let me know where you're from, and very big welcome if you're one of the poor people who keep coming back to watch these ramblings. It's been a weird couple of stitchy weeks, and I know I said in my last Flosstube that I wasn't sure if I was going to do it every week or every 2 weeks in 2023, but I think 2 weeks is my sweet spot. So I'm going to try and stick to 2 weeks, and probably on a Tuesday, because Tuesdays are good for me at the moment. But it's been a weird couple of stitchy weeks. More of that to follow when we talk about stitching. So I don't have huge amounts to show you today, so I expect it might be reasonably brief. But I do have quite a bit of knitting to show you. So I'll do that afterwards. So if you're not here for the knitting, you can head off. But hopefully you'll stick around for the whole thing. Not a lot going on in life, just still trying to get straight after Christmas. But I did finish my Land of Sweets Cowl. So if you remember from last time I filmed, I was very nearly at the end of my Land of Sweets Cowl. And here it is in all its glory. This is a pattern from Curious Handmade, which you can find on Ravelry. It's Helen Stewart. And I stitched this in my Lay Family Yarn 2022 Advent. I wish I'd gone down a needle size. I'm quite a loose knitter, and because it's a cowl I didn't bother to gauge it, but it is therefore rather a baggy cowl, but that's alright, I don't mind. You know, for the first time of doing lace work and striping and whatnot, I am pretty happy with it, and it means that every time you wear it you see different colours. So there you go, that is my cowl. I'll leave it on while we do this. So what else have I got to show you today? I've got 2 whips to show you. I've got a bit of knitting to show you. I'll talk about some plans. I have some knitting haul, and then I'm going to go. This is not going to be long today. I didn't stitch at all this weekend. Not for any reason. It wasn't like we were busy. We weren't. It wasn't I'm not going to stitch. It just ended up not happening. I just didn't feel the urge. And I didn't. And I can't remember the last time I had a whole weekend, other than when we've been, you know, doing something really busy, that I haven't stitched at all. So it was quite unusual. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. And perhaps, in fact, maybe that I should jump in. So last time you saw me, I was stitching on cardinal points, which have been called one of my January WIPGO. Let me show you cardinal points. This is kept in one of my House of Stitch and Stash project bags. And this is cardinal points. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. It is by Julia Line of Long Dog Samplers. It's exclusively for Gentle Arts, so it can only be bought wholesale from Gentle Arts. I got my copy from Lakeside Needlecraft. I know you can get copies from them in the UK. It's a beautiful chart. I'm stitching it in all the called for Gentle Arts, and this is the, oh gosh, it's all a bit tangled. This is their thread palette, and it is just beautiful. Everything about this chart is beautiful. But as I said to you last time, I was just not loving stitching on it. So this is now one of my oldest whips. I started it in 2019, and it never got momentum behind it. I didn't honestly really have time to start it when I started it. There were other priorities, and so it never really had any focus time, and I've just kind of been very much on the struggle bus with it. So let me show you where I've got to. I haven't put it away. I have kept going with it, partly because I think I only got to 10 days on Friday because I haven't been stitching on it a lot, which probably shows how much I'm into stitching on it. But here's where we are. I've kind of half taken it off the Q-snap. So I've been working on this side, and this pink flower that's nearly done is the last pink flower on the bottom half. So I have now basically nearly completed half the border. There's a few leaves and whatnot to put in on that side, and obviously I've got to bring the outside lines up. But overall, I'm kind of there, and I have come into the middle and started doing some of the middle motifs, which thank you to those of you on Instagram that suggested that, because it did really help me out with motivation. But I think I finally got to the place on this where I'm enjoying stitching it again. Remember the red wine from last time? It's still there. I think I might cut that off when I've finished and see if I can like over dye it or something and use that fabric even though it's wine stained. We'll see. We'll see. But I think I'm finally at a place where I'm enjoying this again. I am going to put it away. I'm going to stitch on it tonight for the last day of January, and then I'm going to put it away because I think now I'm enjoying it again, that'd be a good time to stop, so that when I come back to it, I don't come back to it with that feeling. I come back to it with like I was enjoying working on this feeling. I have not got anywhere near as far as I had hoped. I'd put 10 days stitch on my WIPGO board, which I have met the goal, but I was hoping I'd finish this bottom quarter. And I just haven't. And I think that is because I've just been struggling with it so much. But as I say, I kind of feel I've come through that now. And now maybe it's had a good kind of half month of stitching, even though it doesn't look like it. Even though I didn't achieve as much as I can in that time, I think it's perhaps reset me on this project, which is really what was needed. I know a few people said if you're really not enjoying it that much, you know, you should think about UFOing it. And I do absolutely understand where those people are coming from. But I really want it. I really, really want it. And it is beautiful. It just wasn't giving me joy. But as I say, hopefully we are through that now. I'm stitching it on 36 count white linen. I think it's charted in on 18 count Ada. So I've literally just done a straight linen for Ada switch there. I'm stitching it 1/2. And I mean, look at it. It is beautiful, and it is going to be beautiful. And I haven't nearly completed the bottom half, have I at all? Because I've still got that massive urn of flowers. But I have done the border, and the border is actually a lot of the stitching in this. There's just so many colour changes. That's why it takes so long to stitch it. So anyway, so I have been continuing on that, but I am now going to put that away for a little while, but I'm hoping to get that back out again at some point this year, or maybe just a few days each month to just kind of just keep the momentum up on it. Maybe that's what I'll do. Haven't fully formulated the plans on that. So that's that. And then the only other thing I've been stitching on, and again this hasn't had loads of stitching, is my out and about stitching, which is at the moment, it's the Three Musketeers Sal from Stitching Book Club. Obviously this Sal is now finished. Again, I started this in 2020. I want to say 2020. Yes, 2020. I started it when it came out and didn't get very much done. So now I am working on it again. I take this out and about when I'm waiting for my children at clubs. I think last time you saw it, I was working on that golden top border. I'd already done that leafy one. And now I am on these fleur-de-lis and kind of sun emblems. There's another fleur-de-lis started there. Can you see? It's quite pale. I love those fleur-de-lis though. How amazing are they? I think it's very cool. So this is stitched on, what is it stitched on? A 32 count something. 32 count Belfast linen in Summer Sky by Crafty Kitten Fabric, who are no longer trading. And I did my own colour conversion, which is quite like the original, but I pulled from Stash, and I've got colour and cotton, classic Colourworks and a Guest in there. So the colour palette is very similar to what was charted. Now I'm enjoying working on this. I'm trying to decide what to do. I think I might finish part 1, which is just doing these fleur-de-lis and the suns, and then I might put it away and pull something else out so I don't get kind of burnt out on it. But yeah, the the out and about stitching time is increasing again because the year started off slow. There were a few clubs and things that didn't get into full swing for a little while. So that is where we are on that. So that is all the stitching I have to show you. I told you it was going to be quick today. We're only 10 minutes in. But yeah, I just haven't been feeling it, to be honest. Haven't been feeling it. I think that had a lot to do with how I was feeling about cardinal points. Anyway, so Jessie Marie called the WIPGO numbers for February on the 25th of January. And I have 2 projects come up that I am much, much more enthusiastic about. And because I've still got my box of whips here from when I whip parade the other week, I'm just going to yank out what is being called and I will show it to you. Bear with me till I find the right thing. Right. So these are my 2 WIPGO calls for February. I'm so excited about the first one. The first one is Village of Hawk Run Hollow. And my goal on WIPGO is to complete a block. And the second block is this one. That is pretty. It's a lot of stitching there. All that bottom kind of quarter to a third of the block is full coverage. They're quite... Some of them are quite sparse and then other ones are like really solid. I mean, that one down there is completely full coverage. We're a long way off getting to that block. That one's got a fairly chunky house in. But then this one, just a few trees, and this one's not. So it really depends. Anyway, that is quite a lot of stitching. So we'll see how possible it is to get a whole block done in February. Particularly as it's a short month. That's typical, isn't it? But this is where it is now. And literally it's just got block 1 done. So there's no sign of block 2 at the moment at all. So that's where we are. So I'm really excited to pull that one out. I think I'll be pulling that one out straight away tomorrow. Getting cracking. I'm stitching that in the DMC conversion and it's on a 32 count. I know it's a Chromatic Alchemy. It is... I've cut the tag off. It's a 32 count Dune. D-U-N-E, June, like Sand Dune, by Chromatic Alchemy. I'm so looking forward to getting onto that again. Yeah, exciting, exciting. This is also in a House of Stitch and Stash project bag. So excited about that. And then the second thing that has been called for February is not in an exciting project bag, but is Arranging Microbes by Ink Circles. And I think this is down for 10 days stitching, and I think if it's a good 10 days I could make a real inroads on this in 10 days, maybe even a finish, but I don't want to tempt fate. This is where it is now. It hasn't had very much stitching on it so far. I think it's only been stitched on during Stitch Mania, but that's that middle Petri dish. I'm stitching this in all the called for weeks dye works on 40 count white linen. It's a great colour palette, look at that, it's so fun. So yeah, hopefully by the end of February I'll have some significant inroads into that as well. Yeah, and they're my plans really. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for out and about stitching once I put the Three Musketeers away. I'm going to have a little look through my whips and see what might lend itself to being taken out of the house with me and go from there. Right, so that is all the stitching. I have no stitching haul. Excuse me. So I've been really good. Yeah. Very sparse for me, very sparse. But I have been knitting. So if you're not interested in knitting, I will say goodbye now. Thank you for tuning in for the meagre cross stitch offering this fortnight. I promise when I see you again on the 13th of Feb, I will try and have, is it going to be the 13th of Feb? Yeah, Tuesday the 13th. I will try and have a bit more to show you. But if you are hanging around for the knitting, stay tuned. Right. The last time I saw you, I was knitting this. So I finished that, obviously. And then if you remember, the plan was to get over my fear and cast on some socks. Which, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I did. And this is kept in a very appropriate sock bag from Penelope's pocket. This was actually a gift from Sarah, which was very, very kind of her, because my dog chewed my old bag that was like this. So I decided, and lots of people sent me lots of really great sock tutorials, and I've had a look at a few of them, and I'm going to try another one when I finish this pair. But initially I decided to go for the tutorial done by Caroline at Evertotes. So she has a playlist on her channel, Off the Grid Needle Arts, a knitting playlist, and she did a few years ago, she did a load of knitting videos to teach Ginger Gerald how to knit. And they're really good videos, actually. If you want to learn how to knit, she's got some really good videos. I've used a few of them, but this is the first time I've done a full pattern with her. And she was using the super simple cuff down sock by Louise Patterson of Wildflower Wool. This is a paid for pattern, but you can buy it on Ravelry. Anyway, so I went great guns on this. So after I saw you, I cast on my sock, and I did the cuff, and I did the leg, and I did my heel, which was the bit I was most scared of, to be honest, and I did my gusset. Look at that! I'm super proud of that gusset. And now I need to do the foot. I kind of lost a bit of momentum. I was going great guns, and I think it was because I was frankly terrified of this area. But now I've done it, I'm feeling, and obviously just the foot and the toe are not particularly difficult to do. So I need to kind of pick the momentum back up and get on and finish and cast on the next one. But I mean, that won't take me long now to just knit along the foot. And one of my children's going to a birthday party at the weekend at a trampoline park, so I may well take it with me and try and knit as much of the foot as I can. So yeah, this is it's not in anything particularly exciting because it was the first sock, so I don't want to spend loads of money on a lovely, lovely kind of hand-dyed wool or anything, because I really didn't know how it was going to go. But it's Paint Box Yarns Sock Solids, which I got from Lovecrafts, and it's 75% wool, 25% nylon, which I believe is the best thing for socks because you want the nylon to give it kind of durability. And it's in the colour Stormy Grey, if you're wondering what that is. So that was that. And then part of the reason that I lost some momentum on that was I cast on another knitting project. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to be this out. I didn't want my knitting whips to end up like my cross-stitch whips and have a million whips. And I still don't. But what happened was, I don't know if any of you remember, I knit a Grady Fadey cowl, which was a cowl I did with a set of wool, and it went from white to green in a fade. Well, one of the small people has purloined that for their own purposes, which I'm not thrilled about. I would like it back. So, in order to get it back, I said I would knit them their very own cowl. And I said, what would they like? And they said they'd like a rainbow cowl. So I went and bought the supplies, and last Friday I cast on this. This is not from any pattern in particular, it's just me knitting in the round. It's in 100% acrylic wool, most of which are from, that one's lost its tag, this range. Yarnspirations, Karen Simply Soft, 100% acrylic. It's very soft and squidgy. So I hope you're not being knocked. A cat like literally just walked underneath the tripod, it's like rubbing themselves against it. I decided the small person probably wouldn't want wool like against their neck and face, although they seem to be quite happy with my current wool count. But anyway, so I did it in acrylics, and I thought that way it's easy to wash as well. The only one that's not from that range, because I couldn't get a kind of indigo colour, is this one, which is from paint box yarns, but it's also another 100% acrylic. These are Aran weight yarns, 100% acrylic. So I'm about halfway. So I'm doing a proper rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and then just some pink ribbing at the top and bottom. As I say, I'm making this up. I'm doing 9 rows of each colour, and just some occasional kind of pearl lines to add some interest, so it's not just a plain, boring kind of knit all the way around. So yeah, that has been taking up a bit of my time, but because it's Aran, it is stitching up. Aran weight, it is stitching up fast. Knitting up fast. I keep saying that. Stitching up fast. Knitting up fast. Right. So that is everything I've been working on. I just have a tiny little bit of haul to show you. So, and this is knitting haul, and it came beautifully wrapped, but I haven't wrapped it. So it came wrapped up like this. Obviously nicer, but in like this sparkly pink tissue paper. And this is my January club from Skein and the Stitch. I had their Christmas advent calendar, and they do a monthly club, but you just sign up each month, so it's not like you're making a year commitment or anything. And this year the theme, so last year she did a Greek Titans theme, and she's just done a sale on some select colourways from that line, which I went and bought quite a few of. But they're not going to be here for a little while yet, so I haven't got those to show. But this year the theme is literature, and it came with a lovely, and it's art club, isn't it? It's art club, or is it literature? Oh, anyway, January's, it's art club, it says art club. January's theme was illuminated manuscripts. I love that. So it came with this lovely postcard, which has some information on the back about illuminated manuscripts. And I ordered a full skein of DK weight and a mini skein of sock. And this is what they look like. I get it to focus properly. There you go. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? So very excited to use those. Haven't decided on what yet, but I'm sure I will come up with something. And that's it. That is all I have. So thank you very much for coming and hanging out with me briefly today. I hope you have enjoyed it. I promise to try and have more stitching in a couple of weeks. I appreciate this is very lean. But until I see you in February, see you later, stitchers. Bye.